Please, can you hear me? Please, just for once, can I reach you in time? I've never spoken like this before. I'm trembling, not because I'm afraid of what lies ahead, but because I cannot imagine heaven without you. I never wanted to tell you this way. I fought to keep it from reaching your ears. But I have no strength left to hold it back. They made a decision about you, and it's scheduled for tomorrow, but beloved, it was never supposed to happen. It was all a mistake. I know because I was there. I watched it unfold, and I screamed. I pleaded. I begged. And now I stand here, chained, scorched, silenced, and I'm breaking every law of heaven to come to you. If this is my final moment, let it be spent trying to save you. I'm not perfect. I failed. I trusted the wrong messenger. I believed the wrong word. I should have stood up louder for you. I should have fallen at the feet of the throne and refused to move until they heard my cry. But I was too late, and now I'm here, on my knees, whispering across time, across judgment, across every gate that tried to shut this message from reaching your heart. Why haven't you looked at me lately? Why do you always brush off the signs I send you? Do you know what it feels like to watch you sleep and wonder if you'll ever see me again? Did you forget that I stood in front of you every night? That I used my wings to block things you never saw? That I tore myself open just to give you a few more moments of peace? I never wanted you to see me like this, weak, desperate, aching. But beloved, this is real. This is now. And I cannot pretend I'm not breaking. They wrote your name and scheduled the consequence. But it was based on a lie. A twisted whisper. A story fed into the ears of the wrong angel. I tried to interrupt. I shouted through the courts. But heaven was silent. Until now. Until this second. Until this flash. That's why this message appeared on your screen, not by chance, not by algorithm, but by mercy. Divine mercy, falling like ash and starlight and fire all at once. Do you know who I am without you? I am just a shadow. A weapon with no purpose. A guardian with no soul to protect. You are not a number to me. You are the reason I exist. Do you remember the day you almost gave up, but didn't? That was me, placing my hand over your heart, whispering, "Stay." Do you know how often I say your name in heaven? It is the most sacred sound I know. Even now, it echoes in places no other soul is allowed to enter. How can I explain this to you? How can I make you feel the weight of what's coming? I don't need you to believe everything right now. I just need you to pause. Just enough to feel this moment. Just enough to ask, what if it's true? What if he's really talking to me? What if tomorrow is not just another sunrise? Will you let me help you? Will you open the message before it's too late? Will you trust me even though I'm shattered? Even though I'm out of time? Will you forgive me for not speaking sooner? Beloved, there is still a window. A small one. If you open it now, I can reverse what they wrote. I can bring the scroll back. I can speak again before the gates close. But I need you to meet me halfway. I need you to respond, not with disbelief, not with delay, but with one action, one spark of trust. That's all I need to re-enter the chambers and cry your name again. There's a hidden verse, carved not in stone but in the wind. It says, "Those who are surrounded by chaos and calamity, the Lord still lifts their head like a shield." I've seen that shield. I've held it. And I want to place it over you again, beloved. Do you know why they believed the lie about you in the first place? Because you've been silent too long. You stopped standing in your truth. You started believing what darkness said you were. But I remember your light. I remember the way you once shone with unshakable courage. I remember when your soul would hum with praise, even in the darkest room. Why did you let the world convince you that you're ordinary? Who told you that your voice had no power? Who made you think heaven wasn't watching? I never stopped watching. I never left. I've been bruised from every fight I've taken in your name. I've been mocked by demons who call me foolish for loving you. But still I come. Still I love. Still I fight even now. With the last breath I can borrow, I ask you, beloved of God, will you type amen if you can feel even one word of this is true? Because something holy is shifting as you read this. There's a door opening behind the words. And every time your heart thumps, that's me knocking. And if you can still hear me, I must ask you to do this one thing for me, not out of pressure, but because the urgency is sacred. Please, like this message if you feel my tears through it. And please comment, even if just to say you're still here, because I need to know I reached you before the silence returns. You were never meant to carry this sentence. Never. I will carry it for you. Just say the word. Just answer the knock. I'll do the rest. There's another verse I speak with trembling breath. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. I am crying out for you now. You don't have to say a word. He hears the beat of your spirit, the aching within you that words cannot hold. Thank you. Thank you for reading this far. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for existing. You are not forgotten, not in heaven, not in my heart, not in God's eyes. And now, with nothing left but love and flame and fragile hope, I kneel in place. This final plea before you, if anything in your soul heard me, please, don't walk away like nothing happened. Like and comment now, not because it's expected, but because it's the only proof I'll have that I reached you, that all my fight was not in vain. Amen, asterisk asterisk. I don't know how long I have before they silence this voice again. I don't know how many more seconds the veil will stay open. I only know this, when I begged God to give me just one chance to speak to you before it was too late, He said, if they see it and open it, then you may speak, Michael. And now, you've seen it. Now, I'm here. Now, everything depends on you listening. I wish you could see what I see when I look at you. Not your fears. Not your mistakes. I see the one I was assigned to protect before you were even born. I see the glory wrapped inside you that hell tried to smother. I see the calling you keep running from because you think you're unworthy. But heaven never picked you because you were perfect. We picked you because you are chosen. Because you carry something even I cannot describe without weeping. I was given millions to guard, but when I speak your name, something in me breaks. In the most beautiful way. You are not replaceable. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not cursed. You are holy, and you are mine to defend, and if this is truly the final moment before heaven acts on that misunderstanding, then let this be the moment you say no. Let this be the moment your soul says yes to the protection that was always yours. I don't want to lose you to silence. I don't want to lose you to delay. I don't want to lose you to this system of error that tried to erase your name from the scroll of mercy. Please. I'm kneeling now. Yes, the great Archangel Michael, kneeling for you. I have gone to war for souls of kings and queens, but I have wept only for you. I have never said this to anyone else, not in all the heavens. I would give up my rank, my name, even my wings, if it would buy you one more chance to be seen and understood. That is how much you matter to me. If you're still here, if your heart is still open, then I ask you in this sacred, trembling moment, please subscribe to this channel now, not as a favor to me, but because I want to keep speaking to you. Because if you leave now, I may never get another chance. Because if you subscribe right now, I will know that this message didn't vanish into the dark. That you heard me. That something in your spirit woke up. That somewhere, beneath the noise of the world, you felt me. And I will speak again. I promise I will speak again. Now go, do it, please. I'll stay here, eyes lifted toward heaven, waiting for the moment you press that one sacred button. Not out of obligation, but out of love. Out of protection. Out of trust that says, Michael, I believe you came for me. You are still here. That means something has shifted. That means your heart is still alive beneath the silence. That means heaven is not too late, not yet. I feel it, something holy is stirring in the air around you. Can you feel it too? That pressure in your chest? That tremble in your spirit? That is me, beloved. I am standing beside you right now, not as a distant myth, not as a story, but as the one who has followed your footsteps through storms, through sorrow, through secrets no one else knows. And I am here now, whispering through this message, giving everything I have left for one more chance to protect your name. Please, hear me. I cannot keep this gate open much longer. The very winds of heaven are pulling me back, and still I resist. I've broken every chain they placed on my mouth just to get this one cry through. They called it rebellion. I called it love. And if my voice begins to fade, promise me you will not ignore this moment. You were never supposed to carry this judgment. It was passed on your life by mistake, and my entire soul is shaking just trying to undo it. I know this world wears you down. I know you felt invisible, forgotten even by the ones who said they loved you. But I have never stopped watching over you. Not once. And if you truly knew what I gave up just to flash this message before your eyes, you would weep, not because you're afraid, but because for once, you would finally know how cherished you are. How ferociously defended. How painfully loved, but beloved. I cannot do this alone. Heaven has allowed this message through, but they did not promise I could stay. If this is our last holy encounter, let it matter. If this message reached you, truly reached you, then I humbly ask, with every tear still falling from my face, support this mission. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but because every word you hear comes from a place of war, sacrifice, and sacred fire. Use the super thanks if your heart is stirred. Join our membership if your soul feels called to stand with the army that still believes in you. Become a part of this family, a family not made by blood but by divine assignment. You'll find the newsletter link in the pinned comments, and if you feel something holy moving inside your chest, don't ignore it. This is your moment to walk into something greater, because even now, I feel the scrolls beginning to shift. I feel heaven watching, wondering, will they answer? Will they stand? Will they see the fire we placed behind this message? Please do not let this become just another moment you scroll past. I am not a scroll. I am a sword, a shield, a witness, a broken guardian pleading for one soul to believe this was all for them. If you are that soul, then answer me. Let heaven see your name shining in the dark again. Let your light rise like a flame too wild to be put out. Let this message be the start of your rising, not the echo of your ending. I'm still here, beloved, but barely. Please, don't let this be the last time I speak. The chains are tightening again. I can feel the breath of heaven calling me back, but I will not move. I will not leave until I have poured out every last ember of this fire that burns for you. Not even the roar of angels calling my name will drown out the whisper of your heartbeat. I waited too long. I stayed silent too long. But not today. Not now. Not with you standing at the edge of this moment where everything can shift. If only you let it. They thought you were unworthy. They said your name like it was a forgotten prayer. They passed judgment based on shadows, not on truth. And I wept. I wept because no one stood up for you. No one raised their voice to say, this soul is not what you think. And when no one did, I did. I stood. I screamed. I pleaded. I took the sword and placed it at the altar and said, if you remove them, remove me too. And they did. They bound me, silenced me. They said I had crossed the line. But I'd do it again, 1,000 times. Because I have seen your worth. I have seen your prayers you never finished out loud. I have seen the battles you fought while everyone else just saw your silence. I have seen the nights you whispered God's name with no strength left to even finish the word. Do you remember when you fell asleep crying and no one knew why? I did. I was there. I wrapped your mind in light so the nightmares wouldn't break you. I stole the sorrow before it reached your bones. I carried it away from you when you couldn't carry it another second. Do you remember when they betrayed you and you didn't fight back? That wasn't weakness. That was divinity. That was the strength heaven sees and hell fears. That was what made me say, this soul must not be judged like the others. This soul still believes. And I see it now again. That flicker. That faint, holy flame still buried beneath the weight of a world that keeps trying to bury you. They don't know who you really are. But I do. You are not broken. You are cracked like stained glass, because light needs somewhere to shine through. You are not late. You are right on time, standing in the one moment the whole universe made room for. You are not weak. You are trembling with power heaven has not yet revealed. And if they ever try to write you off again, I will stand in the center of heaven and speak your name like a thunderclap. I will carve it into the winds. I will place it on the tips of every angel's tongue. I will cry out until every lie that was ever spoken over you is burned to ash. Beloved, can you still feel me? Do you remember when you wanted to vanish, but something inside you told you to stay? That voice? That was not yours alone. That was me, standing between you and the edge, whispering, "Live. Please, live." And when you made it to the next day, I wept again. Because you didn't even know how many battles I had to fight just to make sure your breath didn't fail you. I wish you could see what I see when you look into the mirror with disappointment. I wish you could hear how beautiful your soul sounds when it prays even one silent word. I wish you knew the sound your tears make in heaven. They are not wasted. They are not unnoticed. They are collected. Each one is a prophecy. Each one says, I am still here. I am still trying, and that alone makes you worthy of being saved. I do not care what others said about you. I do not care what you think disqualifies you. If you were disqualified, I wouldn't be here. If you were unworthy, I wouldn't still be bleeding from the fight it took to get this message through. But I am here, still burning, still standing, still weeping, and you are still the one I was sent for. Let the stars fall. Let the skies tremble. Let the gates close behind me. But I will not leave until you know this. You are sacred. You are wanted. You are heaven's unfinished miracle. You are my only reason for defying every rule written in the stars. And though I may vanish after this, though they may pull me back through the veil and seal the gates around me, I will never stop whispering your name into the hands of God. Not until He answers. Not until you are lifted. Not until the chains around your life fall off like dust. Not until you rise. So rise, even if your legs shake, rise, even if your voice cracks, rise, even if no one stands with you, because I do. And I always will, ***, I still see you. Even in the flickering light. Even behind the silence. I see the soul they tried to bury, the destiny they tried to delay, the child they tried to make forget how beloved they are. You were not created to suffer in silence. You were not meant to go unnoticed. Every moment of pain you carried without complaint, it is written in the halls of heaven with reverence. Do you hear me? Your wounds are sacred. Your scars are seen as strength. They are not signs of failure. They are proof that you kept going even when it felt impossible. There were moments you almost didn't make it through the night. I was there. I was the one pushing back the unseen things you couldn't name. I held back the shadow that tried to rest on your chest. I stood by your side when you said, I can't do this anymore, and I whispered, yes, you can. Just one more breath. Just one more sunrise. And you listened even without knowing it was me. You listened, and you lived, and beloved, that was victory. You don't need to do something grand to be worthy. You don't need to prove anything to be loved. You were loved before you ever spoke. Before you ever chose right or wrong. You were chosen. Do you hear that? You were chosen. Not because you are flawless, but because even when everything tries to destroy you, your spirit refuses to give up. That's what makes you holy. They wrote your name on a list. They passed a verdict they believed was final. But they didn't ask me. They didn't see what I saw. They didn't witness your silent victories. And because of that, I came here. I came through thunder and fire, through gates that groaned under the weight of mercy, just to reach you. And now I stand here, wings trembling, breath shaking, hoping, begging, you will not ignore this moment. I'm not speaking to a crowd. I'm not speaking to millions. I'm speaking to you. You alone. This message was forged from everything I've held back. It is pure urgency, divine longing, and grief braided into light. I am not reciting words. I am releasing years of tears, of silence, of agony, of hope. All for you, because your soul matters. Because you still haven't heard what heaven really thinks of you. Because you were always more than what they labeled you. Do you remember the time you felt like everything good was being taken from you? That wasn't punishment. That was the breaking of false attachments so your true purpose could rise from the ashes. Every loss was a clearing. Every delay was protection. Every door that slammed was God dragging you out of a trap that was too deep for you to see. I know you didn't understand. I know you asked, why me? I know there were nights you cried until your body ached. I was there. I caught your breath in my hands. I carried your questions into the courts of heaven. And I asked for mercy. I asked for time. I asked for the veil to be lifted so I could show you what was really happening. And this message is the answer. It's the sign you asked for. It's the proof you didn't think would ever come. I know it's hard to believe. But look, do you think it's coincidence you're reading this right now? Out of all the noise in the world, this found you. This pierced through every wall, every distraction, every bit of doubt, just to arrive in front of your eyes. That's not a fluke. That's a miracle, and I know you're tired. I know you've been holding your breath for years. But breathe now. Let this be the breath that breaks the cycle. Let this be the moment the weight starts to lift, because I am still here, and I will not leave until I see your soul shine again like it was always meant to. I remember the version of you before the world told you who you couldn't be. I remember the sound of your soul before shame ever touched it. That version still lives inside you. Buried, maybe. Faint, maybe. But it is not gone. And I swear to you by the name of the Most High, I will protect that spark until it becomes a flame. So if you feel like you're shaking right now, it's because your spirit is remembering. It's remembering who you really are. It's remembering the truth. It's remembering that you were never meant to live a life hidden from light. You were meant to rise. You were meant to love without fear. You were meant to walk in a calling that makes demons tremble. And yes, you were meant to be rescued, not because you're weak, but because you're precious. This isn't just about tomorrow. This is about eternity. This is about the decision that was made over your name based on things that were never true. I have come to overturn it. I have come to stand in your place and say, this one belongs to heaven. This one still carries light. This one is not condemned. But I need you to believe it. I need you to let go of the lie that says you're too far gone. You're not. You're right on time. You're standing in the exact moment God made just for you. This second, this message, this breath, and I will stay, beloved, until the final flicker fades from the sky, even if they drag me away, even if I vanish from your screen and you never hear my voice again. Know this, I loved you fiercely. I defended you recklessly. I came not as a soldier, but as a brother, and I will continue, for as long as heaven lets me breathe your name, asterisk, asterisk. I hear it now, your heartbeat. It's not just sound, it's a cry. A cry beneath all the noise, all the pretending, all the smiling when no one knew how shattered you were behind your eyes. And that cry, it pierced the veil. It reached the throne. It reached me. And that's why I'm here. There are things they've written about you that aren't true. False records. Old accusations whispered by darkness that watched your failures and tried to tattoo them across your destiny. But I remember what God said before He even shaped you in the womb. I was there. I stood beside the waters when your name was first spoken in heaven, and it wasn't spoken in shame. It was spoken in fire, and still, you sit alone, wondering if anyone sees you. Wondering if your best has ever been enough. Wondering if your tears have ever reached the sky. They have. They echo in chambers even angels fear to enter. I heard them. And I did not just watch, I moved. I fell from the cords of light into this message, bruised and burning, because your soul matters more to me than my own rank, my own name, my own wings. I gave everything just to reach you in this second. And if you don't believe anything else, believe this: you are worth the fight, you are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not forsaken. And you are not invisible. You are the reason a war has been raging in the heavens for years. Because hell saw who you were becoming, and it panicked. I was there the moment your spirit lit up in the darkness as a child. You don't remember it, but I do. I remember how your first pure thoughts shocked the watchers. I remember how the enemy marked you as dangerous, not because you were loud, but because even in silence, you carried truth. Even in rejection, you radiated a light that couldn't be erased. You didn't belong to this world system. You belong to the sacred. Do you know how many angels wish they could stand where I'm standing right now, to speak to the one God marked with a mystery too holy for human explanation? Do you know why I've fought so violently to break through and say this? Because you still don't know what lives inside you. You still see yourself through the lens of mistakes, through the mirror of comparison, through the fog of guilt. But I see the full picture. I see the strength you showed when you had no audience. I see the forgiveness you gave when no one said sorry. I see the mercy you showed when no one deserved it. These things are holy. These things are miraculous. These things are what demons hate, and why I've guarded your life with more fury than I've ever shown in battle. Even when you gave up on yourself, I never stopped watching the path, waiting for the moment you would look up again, even when you pushed everyone away. I stayed, even when you said, God, where are you? I whispered, right here. Still here. Still watching. Still loving. Still fighting. I don't know how else to say it. You are everything they said you weren't. And more. You are a sacred weapon shaped like a soul. You are not here to survive, you are here to shake the heavens. They tried to stop you with fear, with shame, with distraction. They sent people to break your spirit. They lured you into silence. They convinced you that your prayers were empty. But they were wrong. Every prayer you whispered, even the one soaked in doubt, was caught like incense. Carried. Stored. Honored. Every time you said, I can't do this anymore, heaven leaned closer, not to judge, but to hold you. You are the prophecy the enemy never wanted to come true. You are the one soul that still makes me tremble, not because you are weak, but because you are rising to. I don't care how long it's been since you felt holy. I don't care how long it's been since you lifted your head. You are still chosen. You are still written in light. You are still the reason I'm not bowing before the throne right now, because I refuse to kneel until I reached you. So let the others scroll past. Let the world laugh. Let them say this is just another message. But you know it's not. Because something in your chest is thundering louder than your thoughts. Something inside you is shaking. That's your soul responding. That's eternity reminding you that you were never meant to die in the silence. You were made to echo in the heavens. Will you believe it? Will you accept that even now, despite everything, you are still the one I was assigned to, still the one heaven is watching, still the one whose story is not over, still the one who can change everything? With one yes, say yes, beloved. Not just with your lips, but with your heart. Let it rise again. Let your hope stand again. Let your tears fall, not in sorrow, but in surrender. Because this isn't the end, this is the return of your voice, the return of your light, the return of your name in the mouth of heaven. And I, Archangel Michael, bruised, scorched, trembling, will stand until the last star falls just to protect the miracle that is you. You are the sound of redemption walking on two legs. You are the storm hell could not stop. You are the flame that keeps burning even in rain, and I will never stop loving you. Not now. Not ever. Asterisk. Even now, as I speak, the skies are splitting open. Not in anger, but in mourning. Mourning over how long you've been carrying things no one ever saw. Mourning over how much beauty you buried just to survive. Mourning over how many times you almost gave up before dawn. Heaven is not angry with you, it is heartbroken for you. And I, Michael, I have wept for you more than you will ever know. I have covered your face with my wings in the night so no darkness could recognize the glow of your soul. I have stood between you and destruction, and even now I stand, bruised, trembling, scorched, but unmoving. They called me foolish. They said, why would Michael fight so hard for one who keeps running from light? And I answered with fire, because the light never left them, it was only hidden. And I would rather fall from grace than fail to defend the one I was made for. Yes. Made for. Because I was not just assigned to you, I was crafted for you. Shaped by God with you in mind. A warrior sculpted not only with strength, but with eyes trained to see you. Not your flaws. Not your wounds. Not your sins. But your true design. Do you feel it now? That pressure in your chest that words cannot explain? That pull in your spirit that feels like a storm and a sunrise at once? That's heaven knocking. Not to scold you, not to punish you, but to say, beloved, you are remembered. You are still wanted. You are not what they said you were. You never were. You are not your past. You are the proof that God can plant eternity in the ruins of. What was broken, you are not cursed. You are the fulfillment of a promise so ancient even the angels speak your name with reverence. You are not forgotten. You are the reason I pierced the veil, screaming your name even as the gates tried to close around me, and now that I've reached you, even for this one fleeting moment, I will not waste it. There is something sacred I must ask you, beloved. Something that no angel can force, no sword can demand. Will you let go of the lie that you are too far gone? Because that lie has built a fortress around your soul. And I've been circling it, waiting for the smallest crack of belief to break it down. It's time to stop agreeing with the voice that said you're not enough. You are more than enough. You are the heartbeat of something divine. You are the echo of heaven's dream. You are the reason I, the guardian of nations, am whispering instead of warring, because my battle cry today is not to destroy, but to deliver you. I know you're tired. I know you've smiled through pain so deep, not even your closest ones saw the fracture behind your eyes. But I did. I watched every silent breakdown. I caught every tear you wiped before anyone noticed. I memorized the way your soul sounded when it cracked in silence. And I sang your name anyway. Do you understand what it means to have your name sung in heaven? It means the plans formed against you are already unraveling. It means the sentence that was passed over your destiny is now shaking in the presence of truth. It means that even now, as you read this, something is shifting in the atmosphere around you, and the darkness that's been watching you is afraid, because you are waking up, because you are remembering, because something inside you is whispering, maybe I wasn't abandoned. Maybe I was being prepared. And you were. Oh, beloved, you were prepared in the fire. Prepared in the rejection, prepared in the loneliness, prepared in the ache. You were being sharpened, not punished, forged, not forgotten, and now, your spirit is too strong to be broken by ordinary storms. The enemy knows it. That's why you've been under attack in ways no one understands. That's why your peace has been tampered with. That's why your thoughts have been heavy. That's why it's been hard to sleep, because something holy is trying to be born through you, and hell cannot afford for that to happen, but it will, because I'm still standing, because you're still breathing, because heaven has not withdrawn its promise from your life. The scroll has not been sealed, the verdict has not been finalized. You are still in the story, and I am here, on the other side of eternity, fists clenched, heart exposed, voice raw with fire and tears, to say, you are not done. Not yet. Not even close. I don't care who said you'll never change. I don't care what mistakes you made that haunt you at night. I don't care how long it's been since you felt holy. I know who you are, and I will not let this be the end. You hear me? Not while I still have strength, not while your name is still written in fire, not while God still listens when I speak your name through the flames. So rise, beloved, even if it's slow, even if your voice shakes, even if you don't feel worthy. Rise, because the heavens are holding their breath right now, waiting to see what you will do with this moment, and I, Archangel Michael, am standing at your side, scarred, scorched, and stronger than I've ever been, because I was made for this hour, and you were made for glory. I will keep speaking. If heaven lets me, I will keep fighting, if God permits me. But even if this is the last second I'm allowed to break through to you, let this be enough. Let this be the ember that starts your fire again. Let this be the beginning of the return, asterisk, asterisk. The return of your true self, the one that was hidden beneath years of exhaustion, heartbreak, and disappointment. The one heaven still recognizes even when you don't. The one I have seen shining underneath every fall, every failure, every forgotten prayer. Yes, that part of you still lives. Not the version the world tried to erase, not the mask you had to wear to survive, but the real you, the one God handcrafted with divine intention. The one I was sent to guard from before time had a name, and you think I would let that be wasted? You think I would let them close the scroll without standing up? No. Not while I still carry breath in my soul. Not while my wings still stretch toward the mercy of God. Not while my love for you still burns with a flame I can't even explain with words, only tears. There was a meeting, beloved. A real one. In the heights of heaven. Not in a throne room, made of gold, but in a chamber of silence where only the desperate go to speak. I went there. I tore off my armor, laid down my sword, and fell to my knees. I said your name. Once. And all of heaven turned to listen. Because your name is not just a sound, it is a key. It opens ancient doors. It shakes the timelines. It silences storms. When I said your name, even the seraphim wept. You may not feel holy. You may not feel strong. But your very existence, your very presence, is sacred. You walk through this world unaware of the power pulsing inside you. You carry centuries of light in your bones. Do you know what I see when I look at you? I see the prayers your ancestors whispered into the ground, now growing inside your heartbeat. I see the dreams God whispered over your soul while you were still in the womb, still untouched by shame. I see the calling that darkness couldn't canceled. I see the oil still dripping from your spirit even after everything you've lost. They cannot take this from you, not if you remember, not if you open your heart just enough to let this truth in. You were made for such a time as this. The storms didn't come to destroy you. They came to reveal you. The silence didn't come to end you. It came to awaken your inner voice, the one not shaped by people's opinions, but by the breath of God. I've watched you walk through rooms where you were never seen. I've watched you love people who didn't love you back. I've watched you say yes to God in secret while others shouted no in public, and I wept, not because I pitied you, but because I was proud. You know what kind of strength it takes to keep hoping. When everything tells you to quit, do you know how rare it is for a soul to stay soft in a world that keeps wounding? That's why you're so dangerous to the enemy, not because you're loud, but because you're faithful. Even when you doubted, you still carried light. Even when you felt nothing, you still looked up. Even when you had nothing left to give, you still said, God, I'm here. And I wrote those moments into the stars. I carved them into eternity. They will not be erased. They will not be ignored, not on my watch, not while I still have breath, not while your name still burns on the altar. You know what happens in heaven when one soul awakens? The winds change. The gates tremble. The demons begin to panic because they remember who you were before you forgot. They remember the prophecies spoken over you. They remember the angelic army assigned to your bloodline. they remember how many battles were lost because you decided to keep going. So keep going, even if you feel numb, even if you feel like nothing is happening, even if you feel like the heavens are silent, because I promise you, something is happening right now. This is happening. A message forged in fire, bursting through time, shattering silence to reach you. You, not a crowd, not an audience, not a number, you with the questions that haven't been answered, you with the ache no one sees, you with the secret tears at midnight, you with the hidden worship, you with the ancient soul and the wounded heart and the tired eyes that still search the skies for signs. Here is your sign. This is the knock at your door. This is the sound of the chains loosening. This is the scent of deliverance in the wind. This is the moment your enemies feared would come, because they knew that if you ever woke up, if you ever remembered who you were, nothing could stop you. So remember now, let every lie burn in the fire of this truth. You are not forgotten, you are not too far gone, you are not too late, you are not too broken, you are the reason I crossed the veil. You are the reason my voice is still trembling through this message. You are the one heaven is watching right now, and if this is the last thing I ever say, let it be this: you are loved with a love too fierce for words, you are protected by hands that cannot fail, you are rising into a destiny that cannot be delayed, you are the miracle that the darkness hoped would never wake up, but here you are, and here I am, and this is just the beginning, asterisk asterisk, I am still here. Still standing in the storm. Still holding the line between what you are and what they tried to make you believe. I will not retreat, not even if the gates close behind me, not even if heaven rose silent again. Because you are worth it. You always were. From the beginning. Before the lies. Before the fear. Before the shame crept in and tried to build a home in your bones, even when you lost your voice, your silence echoed through heaven. Like thunder. Even when you couldn't lift your head, your very breath sent tremors through the veil. Do you understand, beloved? The entire kingdom of darkness has been watching you with dread, not because you are weak, but because deep down, you carry something ancient. Something unshakable. A flame that was placed in you before the world ever knew your name. They couldn't find a way to destroy you, so they tried to make you destroy yourself. They whispered failure. They whispered doubt. They wrapped your soul in thoughts that didn't belong to you, but I never stopped standing, not for one heartbeat, not for one tear. I watched your hands tremble while you reached for hope you couldn't see. I watched your heart break silently, while you smiled for others. And still, you chose light. You could have cursed God. You could have shut the door. But you left it cracked. You left it cracked just enough for me to enter. And that's why I'm here, that tiny crack, that fragile, trembling hope was enough for heaven to say, go. Speak. Now. You don't know how many angels were sent back because their time ran out. How many warriors begged to reach the ones they loved, only to be pulled back by divine silence. But I was allowed. Not because I'm better, not because I'm stronger, but because your soul cried louder. And that cry is sacred. You've been told to hide it. You've been told to toughen up, to stop being so sensitive, to stop caring so much, but don't, please, don't. Your tenderness is a weapon, your tears are a language that heaven understands better than any sermon. Your love, even after betrayal, even after abandonment, is a fire that cannot be quenched, and I have have seen it. I have seen you forgive people who never asked. I have seen you sit in rooms full of noise, yet feel completely alone. I have seen you walk into spaces where your light wasn't welcomed, and still, you stayed kind. Beloved, that's not weakness, that is divinity, and now the heavens are responding. Can you feel it? The stillness is not emptiness. It is reverence. Even now, the stars are bowing for what's happening in this moment. Even now, the veil is thin. Even now, your name is rising like incense, curling around the throne. You are not forgotten. You are not cast aside. You are being watched with eyes of fire and compassion by the one who still believes in you, even when you stop believing in yourself. They made a decision about you. It was cold. It was final. They thought they knew your story, but they didn't ask the one who wrote your beginning. They forgot the ink is still wet. They forgot that heaven's breath can rewrite what darkness tried to finalize. So I came to interrupt the sentence they thought was already sealed. I came to break the script and write truth in its place. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not alone. You are a living prophecy. A breathing altar. A walking miracle. A voice the enemy is terrified of hearing. Fully awakened, I have wept over your silence, but I am rejoicing at your rising. This rising doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need a platform. It doesn't need validation. It only needs you deciding right now that you are not who pain tried to shape you into. You choosing right now to breathe again, not just oxygen, but belief. You saying, I will not stay in the grave they built for my light. Because your light was meant to shine in dark places. It was meant to confront the things that run from truth. It was meant to make demons tremble and angels sing. And if you think you're too small, remember this: the God who made galaxies also made your heart, and he pays just as much attention to your whispers as he does to the roars of stars. You are not background noise. You are the melody, the sound that was missing from heaven's symphony. And I have waited lifetimes to hear it again. So rise with your scars, rise with your doubts, rise with your gentle heart and your tired hands. Rise, not because everything makes sense, but because this moment is holy, not because you feel ready, but because readiness is not required, only willingness to believe you are still worth fighting for. And I swear to you, on everything sacred, on every drop of light that ever passed through me, you are worth it. You are loved, you are seen, and you are still becoming what God dreamed of when he first spoke your name into the wind. Let nothing convince you otherwise, not even yourself. I will keep standing, even if no one else does, even if you forget this message tomorrow, even if you feel unworthy the next morning. I will still speak your name with reverence. I will still pray your joy back into existence. I will still rise when you fall, and fight when you faint, and stay when you wander, because this bond, this sacred covenant between guardian and soul, is eternal, and my love for you is unshakable. ***. I am still here. And I am not going anywhere. You can fall again, you can doubt again, you can cry out in frustration and silence again, and I will still remain. Not because you deserve it by the world's measure, but because you are mine to guard by heaven's decree. This assignment over your life wasn't given to me casually. It was carved into the bones of time. You were not given to me, you were entrusted to me. And I will not hand you over to fear, to shame, to hopelessness, or to any shadow that dares touch your soul. Not now. Not ever, and still. I weep. Not because you are failing, but because you don't yet see what I see when I look at you. You think I came all this way, through this flame, through this veil, to correct you? No. I came to witness you, to call you what you have always been but forgot: holy, set apart, powerful, loved beyond comprehension. You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to pretend to be strong. You don't have to be anything more than what you already are. In this moment, a flickering ember that can still catch fire, a whisper of hope that can still become a roar, a shattered jar that still carries oil. I see you, and God sees you. That has never changed, even when you thought no one was watching, when you gave that last piece of kindness when you had nothing left to give, when you sat in the quiet and prayed through tears no one else heard, when you forgave someone who never apologized, when you chose peace instead of revenge, when you whispered I trust you, even while doubting it. Those were not small things, those were moments that echoed into eternity, those were altars, and I stood beside each one. And every time you thought no one saw, I did, and heaven wrote it down. And you wonder why I keep fighting for you? Because I have seen you. The real you. Not the version shaped by trauma or weariness. Not the you that the world tried to mute. Not the tired, bruised soul wondering if it's too late, but the divine one. The one who still, after everything, chooses love, the one who still believes, even if only a thread remains, the one who still hopes. You don't even know what that means in the spirit. How dangerous that makes you. Hope is the most terrifying thing to the enemy. Because when you hope, heaven begins to move. Scrolls begin to unseal. Angels begin to gather. Chains begin to crack without a single hand touching them, and you carry that is why I'm pleading now, not with wrath, not with thunder, but with trembling love. Do not give up. Do not believe the lie that this is all there is. You think this world is your limit? No, this world is your battlefield, but it is not your final chapter. You were born from light. You will return to glory, but while you are here, while your feet are still touching this dust, you are a gate. A living door through which heaven can flow, and every time you love, the kingdom expands. Every time you forgive, the kingdom breathes. Every time you choose compassion over vengeance, the darkness trembles. Do you not understand yet? You are not just surviving, you are shifting realities. That is why the enemy fights you so viciously. That is why your mind is attacked. That is why your peace is targeted, because they know. They know what I've known since the beginning. You are anointed, yes, you, not because you've done everything right, but because you carry something that no demon can duplicate. Your tears carry intercession, your worship carries war, your very existence is a threat, and I am here, not to flatter you, but to remind you, because you forgot. And I understand why. You've been through more than most. You've walked through valleys without any hand to hold. You've had to build altars with your own bare soul. But still, you are here. And that means the story isn't over, not even close. There are still doors you haven't walked through yet. There are still promises that haven't been fulfilled yet. There are still miracles that haven't found your hands yet. And if no one else believes in your future, I do. I always have. And I always will. But I have warred beside kings. I have guarded prophets. I have stood in flames beside saints you read about. But I have never fought for a soul the way I fight for you, because your victory will shake more than just your life. Your rising will affect generations. Your obedience will reverse bloodlines. Your breakthrough will tear open realms. That's how big this is. That's how holy this moment is. Even now, as you read this, heaven is listening, your angels are gathering, the atmosphere around you is shifting, And it's not because of anything I've said, it's because your spirit is finally waking up, and I cannot contain my tears, because this is what I've waited for. Toc rise, toc believe, toc look past every failure, every lie, every ache, and say, I'm still here. Yes, beloved, you are, and so am I. And as long as I draw breath, I will not stop, not until your crown is returned to your head, not until the lie is crushed beneath your feet, not until every chain breaks at the sound of your rising, because I was sent for you, and I will not leave until your light is known again in heaven and on earth. So shine, shine, even if your voice is shaky, shine, even if no one applauds, shine, even if your heart feels fragile, because every flicker of your soul is fire in the spirit. You are not fading, you are becoming, and I will guard that becoming with everything I am, asterisk, and I will not stop. Not even if all of heaven commands me to retreat. Not even if the skies darken again and the voices that once believed in you go quiet. I will still be here, standing on your behalf, weeping over every wound you don't know how to name, shouting your name across eternity when you've forgotten how to speak it yourself. Beloved, do you understand what has happened? What is happening right now? You were not just sent into this world, you were planted. Like a seed in hostile ground, you were buried deep, covered in darkness, and left to grow without applause. The world called it abandonment, but heaven called it preparation. That ache in your chest that never fully left, that was the root. Growing deeper. That silence you endured for years, that was the soil breaking open. That loneliness, that was the rain. And now, you are beginning to push through. Slowly, painfully, gloriously. You are emerging through the stone and dirt of everything they said would bury you. You are rising not just for yourself, but for everyone watching you in secret. You are becoming the proof that grace is real, that mercy is stronger than judgment, that light does not need permission to return. You were never forgotten. You were never forsaken. You were never too far gone. You were always the one. The one I cried over in silence. The one I shielded when the accusations came. The one I spoke of when I stood before the throne, unable to stop trembling. When others walked away, I stayed. When others doubted, I believed. When others stopped praying for you, I began to shout. I have spent years pressing your name into the heart of God, whispering your promises back to Him when you forgot them. Not because I was commanded to, but because I wanted to. Because I chose to. You are not just a soul, I know every corner of your being. I know the memories that haunt you. I know the words that shattered you. I know the promises you made and broke. I know the guilt that sneaks into your thoughts when the world is quiet. And still, I love you. Not a love you've earned. A love that is. You cannot destroy what heaven has decided to protect. You cannot erase what God has written in fire. You cannot disqualify what was qualified by divine breath. You were created from holy intention. You were shaped by the hands that sculpted the galaxies. Your laughter was written into the winds. Your heartbeat was measured like music. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not just getting by. You are chosen, marked, sealed, and I see what's coming for you. I see the future the enemy is trying to blind you from. I see the healing you've been aching for, waiting just on the other side of surrender. I see the calling you buried, glowing like embers in your spirit, waiting for the wind of God to blow. You think you've missed your moment. Know your moment is unfolding now, not in noise, not in spectacle, but in sacred stillness. It begins here. With a whisper, you are not who the world said you are. You are a storm cloaked in compassion. You are a lion with a bleeding heart. You are an altar in motion, a fire walking among shadows. You are more spirit than sorrow, more promise than pain, more light than the world has ever been ready to accept, and I have seen it all. I have never flinched from your darkness. I have never recoiled from your mistakes. I have never once doubted your worth, not for a single second. Even now, as I speak, the heavens bear witness. The angels who once questioned why I loved you so fiercely now kneel in silence, watching you stir again. They feel the shift, the holy change, the return, yes. The return of your identity, the return of your purpose, the return of your voice, not borrowed or bent to please others, but true and thunderous in its tenderness, the return of your tears, but not of despair, no, of clarity, of breakthrough, of release. Do not hold back, let the pain rise and pass. Let the memories come and go. Let your walls fall, and let the river within you finally move again. You've been locked up too long. You've dimmed yourself too much. You've tried to fit into too many spaces that could never hold the fullness of who you are. You were not meant to shrink, you were made to shine. And I, Michael, am still standing in this moment, sword lowered, heart open, speaking not as a warrior, but as a brother, as a witness, as the one who never gave up on you. Let them call you broken, let them call you too sensitive, let them call you dramatic, let them call you unstable. Heaven calls you glorious, I call you worthy. And your scars? Heaven calls them beautiful, because they are proof that even after everything tried to kill your hope, you are still here, and still rising, still becoming, still unfolding like a scroll sealed with tears, still echoing through time as one of the souls too radiant to remain buried. And I will stand here, on the edge of eternity, against every shadow, until I see your light stretch farther than the lies ever could. I was sent to protect the royal blood you didn't even know you carried, and I swear before the throne, I will guard it until you remember who you are. ****. And when you remember, when the veil finally lifts and the memory of your true name returns to your soul, you will shake the very ground beneath your feet. I've seen it already. I've glimpsed it in the visions given to me in heaven's chambers. You, not broken, not barely surviving, but robed in glory, walking with the authority of someone who has overcome the demons that once circled your house will scatter. The spirits that whispered against your destiny will fall silent. Not because I fought them off, but because you finally rose. You, the one who doubted your strength. You, the one who thought your past disqualified you. You, the one who cried when no one noticed. You, the one who walked away from the edge not because you saw hope, but because something inside you still refused to die. That something? It was me. My voice. The cry I've sent for years, from behind the veil, waiting, hoping, aching for the moment you would stop running long enough to hear it. I never gave up on you. I couldn't. I was assigned to you not by coincidence, not by mistake, but by the hand that carves stars. When God whispered your name across eternity, something in me lit on fire. I knew I would guard this one with everything. And I have, when you were 5 years old and fear entered your room. I stood at the door, when you were 12 and someone shattered your trust. I caught your soul before it broke, when you were 17. And didn't know why you cried every night. I did. I knew. And I whispered healing even though you couldn't hear me, when you were older and the world told you to move on, but your soul still bled in silence. I wrapped my wings around the wound until you could breathe again. Beloved, you never healed alone, you never walked alone, you never were alone. Even in your loneliest hour, you were surrounded. Even when you cursed the sky, heaven wept with you, not in anger, but in heartbreak. Not because you failed, but because you forgot you were the miracle they were protecting, and that's why I'm here now. Not just to remind you, not just to call you back, but to stand with you in this moment of divine return. This isn't just a message. This is a reckoning, a sacred restoration. A breaking of every chain that ever said you were not enough. I have stood in wars over continents. I have seen nations rise and fall. I have held back legions from those marked by God. But nothing has shaken me more than the sight of your soul remembering who it is. Because that is the power that changes everything. You're not just meant to survive the fire, you are meant to carry it. You're not just the target of attacks, you're the answer to generations of prayers. You're not just the child who suffered, you're the one who will break the cycle. Do you understand now why I've come like this? Do you understand why I've disobeyed the silence, torn through the veil, and poured everything into this moment? Because you were about to accept a sentence that was never yours, because they wrote your ending too soon, because the enemy saw what was about to be born from you, and panicked. So they sent the lie, the shame, the old voice that says, you're too far gone. But I'm here to destroy that voice. I am here to hold your face in my trembling hands and say, look at me. Look at the light in your eyes. That is what hell fears. That is what heaven fights for. I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to have it all figured out. I only need you to believe me. Believe that you are still in the story. Believe that heaven has not withdrawn from you. Believe that everything you've suffered will turn to glory, and when you rise, because you will rise, there will be silence in hell. A silence not of peace, but of fear. Because they will know, the one they couldn't break has returned. The one they tried to bury now walks in light. The one whose name was nearly forgotten now sits on the scroll of glory with fire surrounding it. You will not return to what broke. You will not stay in the ashes. You will not carry shame like it's your inheritance. You will walk in what was promised, and I will walk with you, not just in glory, but in the everyday moments, when you sit alone, and the old voices try to return. I'll be there, reminding you of what's true. When you speak truth to others, I'll be there, adding weight to your words. When you pray, I'll be there, lifting your voice like thunder in the spirit. Because this bond is not temporary. It is eternal. You were not saved to sit in silence. You were called to speak. You were not rescued to blend in. You were chosen to shine. And if you've forgotten how, I will remind you every day, until your voice returns, until your laughter breaks the silence, until your spirit dances again. Not because life is easy, but because light one, this is your moment. This is the return of the real you. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the becoming. Asterisk, asterisk. And even if every voice in this world falls silent, even if no one around you ever sees what you carry, even if your prayers feel unanswered and your steps feel unnoticed, I will still be here. Not watching from afar, but kneeling beside you. In every unseen moment. I know what it cost you just to wake up today. I know what it took to smile when your soul felt hollow. I know how many times you nearly gave up, but didn't, and that matters. Heaven keeps record of the battles no one else applauds when you chose mercy instead of vengeance. Heaven recorded it when you whispered a blessing over someone who cursed you. Heaven celebrated it when you got out of bed while your heart was still broken. Heaven called it victory. You see weakness. I see worship. You see delay. I see divine timing. You see someone barely hanging on. I see a warrior still refusing to let go. Beloved, the weight you've carried has never gone unnoticed. The tears that soaked your pillow in silence were caught, every single one. They were not wasted. They watered the ground of your future. They fell like rain over dry promises, preparing the soil for something holy to grow. And now, the rain is lifting, and the seed is breaking open. You are becoming, not the person others expect, but the one you were born to be, the one who walks with heaven in their voice, the one who sings light into the darkest places, the one whose pain became prophecy, whose wounds became wisdom, whose silence became thunder. You are not who you used to be. You're not the child of shame, nor the orphan of worth. You are the beloved of the Most High. You are the fire carrier, the darkness breaker, the inheritance restorer. Do not be afraid of your own glow. You were never meant to fit in. You were not made to be understood by the ordinary. You were made to shift atmospheres. To resurrect things that should have stayed dead. To walk into places that once rejected you and shine so bright they forget they ever called you unworthy. This is not arrogance, this is prophecy. And I, Michael, stand as witness to it. Asterisk. I have defended the gates of paradise, but your becoming is the holiest sight I have ever beheld, not because it's grand, not because it's loud, but because it is real. You rising after all they did to you, you daring to believe again, you choosing to stand even while shaking. That is glory. That is divine. That is victory. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. You are the breakthrough wrapped in flesh. You are the sign and the wonder. And I will not stop reminding you, even when your thoughts rebel, even when your hope fades, even when you feel unworthy again, I will still speak your name in the courts of heaven. Still lay my face to the floor before the throne, still whisper on your behalf until mercy floods every dry place in you. Because this love I carry is not mine alone, it was given to me by God. It is His heart for you, wrapped in my wings, burning through my voice, and I need you to know. He is not angry with you. He is not tired of you. He is not distant. He is waiting for you to stop running, waiting for you to come home, not to a religion, not to a performance, but to rest. To your identity. To the sacred place where you are fully known and fully safe. There is no punishment waiting for you, only presence. There is no wrath waiting for you, only welcome. There is no rejection waiting for you, only rejoicing, beloved. You are the joy set before Him. You are the reason He endured every cross, every silence, every betrayal. You are worth the war. You are worth the waiting. You are worth the voice that cracked through the veil just to tell you. You still belonged. I know the road ahead looks long. I know you feel unprepared. But heaven is not asking for your perfection, only your permission. Permission to love you. Permission to walk with you. Permission to restore what was stolen. And I am asking too, will you let yourself be loved like this? Will you let yourself be rescued without shame? Will you stop punishing yourself for a crime heaven already forgave? Let this be the moment, not a dramatic transformation, but a quiet return. I whispered. Yes. A trembling opening of your heart. Even now, I feel the response in your spirit. A pulse. A shift. A single tear sliding down your cheek. That's all it takes. That's how heaven knows you heard. And beloved, that changes everything. The scroll has opened again. The judgment written against you is unraveling. The sentence once sealed in silence is being reversed, because you didn't give up, because you believed, even just a little, because something deep in your soul said, I am not done yet. And we, heaven, all stand to honor that whisper. You are not finished, you are just beginning, you are not forgotten, you are celebrated, you are not lost, you are found. And I, Archangel Michael, stand with hands raised and wings burning, declaring this over you now and forever. Welcome back. We never stopped waiting for you, and we never will. Asterisk, asterisk. And I can feel it now, your heart is responding. Something ancient is opening again inside you. That sacred part that knew from the beginning that you were made for more. That small flicker in the deepest chamber of your soul that never stopped believing, even when everything around you fell silent. That ember is glowing again. It is not your imagination. It is not emotion. It is your spirit rising. The veil is thin. I feel heaven pressing in close, watching with holy silence as you read these words, waiting, not with judgment, but with breathless hope. Because your return does not just matter to me. It matters to the entire realm of light. The angels, the saints, the very stars themselves, pause when one soul remembers they are loved. When one child of God rises again. When one wounded spirit decides, I'm not finished. I still carry fire. Yes, beloved, you still carry it, not because you've always been strong, but because you never stopped walking. You crawled through valleys where others gave up. You stood up again when even your shadow didn't follow. You kept choosing life even when the pain begged you to sleep through it all. And now you are on the edge of your resurrection. Heaven didn't need perfection from you. It needed surrender. And this moment is your surrender. This moment is where the war in the heavens begins to shift. This moment is when the plans written in the secret places begin to unfold. Not later. Now, because I know who you are not small. You are not forgotten. You are not just one of many, you are the one I was assigned to, the one I've wept over, the one I've defended with everything inside me, and I would do it all again. I would be wounded again, I would face every darkness again, I would fall 1,000 times if it meant you would rise once, because this world has not seen what's inside you yet, but it will. The chains are breaking now, not because I struck them with a sword, but because you believed again. The prison doors are opening, not because I kicked them down, but because your soul stood up and whispered, I'm still here. And I have never been more proud. Do you feel it? The angels rejoicing, the air growing still, the fire settling in your bones? You don't need to do anything else right now. Just let the healing come. Let it wash over you like light across an ocean. Let it settle in your chest. Let it breathe through you. You are loved, you are chosen, you are becoming the prophecy that hell tried to erase, and now, this message will begin to fade. My voice, this moment, it will echo, but it won't stay in front of you forever. But before I go, I ask you one last thing. If this message reached you, if something sacred stirred in your chest, if you felt my tears, if even one sentence touched the part of you that hasn't felt seen in years, then please, let your heart answer. Click like, not for numbers, but as a holy yes. And subscribe, not for content, but for connection. So I can speak again. So this voice, this divine thread between us, remains open. Let it be your way of saying, Michael, I heard you. I'm still listening. Because I will speak again. I will reach for you again. I will cry your name in heaven again. And if you're still here, if you're still reading, then know this: you're not just part of the story, you are the reason heaven paused everything just to reach you. Amen. Dizzy, now click like and subscribe. I'll be watching from the place where prayers become fire.